Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Monday Follies on Deadline Detroit. I am Craig Fahle. Glad to have you with me today as we sort of make fun of people in the news over the last few days. And Rudy Giuliani will make an appearance today, as will several folks.
No one more fun than Rudy.
Well, exactly. And mic placement there, Chato. Make sure you're right into that thing. Do me a favor. Chato Hill is my friend. He is here today. Boulevardier, I guess is his title, but legendary advertising guy here in town.
No, I'm
Been a friend for a long
yes.
time. He's sort of the Donnie Deutsch of the Monday Follies. So, sorry
the
about
less
that.
wristwear.
Yeah, exactly. And, of course, my friend Alok Sharma is here of Sharma Analytics, but somebody I've known for about a decade now, probably.
It's been a minute, Craig.
It's been a little bit. And I ran into him on the street the other day and roped him into this. He was on the People's Panel not too long ago, but
That's right. Yeah.
I got you here for the Follies instead.
That's and it's always fun, and I just hope I can keep up with this guy next to me. And
I'm going to be keeping up with you two.
Well, we shall see. Well, you know what? A tradition on this program is to talk about Florida Man, and this is something that happened long before the Florida Man Challenge. We've been finding fun news in Florida for as long as I've been doing the Follies, and that goes back quite a few years now. Almost a decade, as a matter of fact, that we've been doing this. And for some reason, Florida, just weird stuff happens there. And normally it's because Florida has very, very open records about people who get arrested and what they get arrested for. So all the details are there, and they're all made public right away. So that's why we have access to so much stuff. So Florida, I know you feel singled out. I know you feel punished. It's just that you have this transparency down there that doesn't exist in a lot of other states. So people are just as goofy everywhere else. They just don't get called out for it on the internet.
right, they air it out in Florida.
Absolutely, So it's a good thing. Everything's outdoors, right? Everything's out in the sun, so to speak. But Florida politics can be interesting as well. And there is a Speaker of the House in Florida. His name is Jose Oliva. He is a Republican in that state. He is from Miami Lakes, and that's a suburban Miami-Dade County thing over there. And he said he was trying to keep his comments dispassionate when discussing Florida's bill that is advancing right there, which is a fetal heartbeat bill, similar to the one that Georgia is getting so much grief over right now.
Great, another abortion bill.
15 times in this interview, he was not speaking about women, but instead referring to them 15 times as host bodies in this discussion.
Host bodies.
Host
Whoa.
bodies. So, you talk about a party that's already got a problem with women and is working on this, and Florida's trying to pass this bill, and of course it's a man referring to women as host bodies down in Florida to have a discussion about abortion, a process that, again, not something that's necessarily going to impact him, but is going to have a huge impact
on the host bodies.
On the host bodies, yes. Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's probably best you don't refer to women as something from a Sigourney Weaver movie.
Well, it's exactly right. I mean, it's like what was that movie with Harrison Ford? I mean, it almost seems like Blade Runner-esque or something like that.
Absolutely.
To do this, but host bodies. I'm clearly this guy's not a host body for a freaking brain.
Well, you can say what you want about Frank Lentz's, but you know what? You look at his work and you say he came up with some pretty clever ways to rename things, right? Death tax, for one,
that's right.
right?
That's right.
What?
Right?
Death tax?
Death tax,
Death tax.
right?
Death tax.
And then you see this and you're like, I suspect this wasn't Frank Luntz.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the whole thing. And I just don't understand it. But he has since apologized for using the phrase host body, suggesting he was just trying to keep the discussion dispassionate.
He's
But I'm
apologized?
sorry. There is no dispassion in this argument. If you are talking about restricting abortion to the level that these bills will, clearly there's going to be a little passion there. And when you dismiss more than half the population as potential host bodies, it shows that what you think of them and what their value is for society, that they are here solely to breed. This sounds like something out of Superman, Man of Steel, when they had, those birth chambers that they were using.
Oh, yes. I was just watching Man of Steel the other day.
It was on yesterday. I watched it again.
I saw it about 3 days ago on TNT, yes.
But this is the kind of thing that I have a feeling there's a little mileage for the people that are opposed to this bill in Florida now that they can use, because the Speaker of the House, he's just got to basically remove himself from this equation at this point.
Yeah, you can't. He can't talk about this. He's got to stay out of the mix after you make a step in it like this. My question is, I need to do a Google search about host bodies, and I need to figure out what blog he got this term from.
Well, something on 4chan probably, or 8chan, better yet, which is where a lot of this really fun stuff lives on a daily basis. So for those of you that are looking for the really creepy stuff, that's where it is. And that's where a lot of that stuff breathes.
What's it called?
8chan?
8?
Chan, C-H-A-N. See, it started out as 4chan. Put it this way. This is where all the really fine people from Charlottesville hang out and share ideas.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't
So
even
it's
tell
that
anybody
kinda,
where that is.
It's that kind of world.
Don't
Put it
even
this way.
tell anybody
Breitbart's
where that
not quite radical enough for them. So
Yes, I'm sure.
it's a wonderful place. It's not a wonderful place. And if your kids are hanging out there, seriously,
Seriously.
take a look.
Come on.
Check out
Slow
the history.
down. Take a look.
Anyway, shall we move on?
Giuliani.
Rudy Giuliani had a heck of a weekend and a heck of a last few days. He has been out there, of course, leading the charge for President Trump, suggesting that the Russia investigation was a hoax, that the prosecutors acted illegally, that we should investigate the investigators. He's been talking about that all along. But then he came out the other day and said, look, we weren't meddling with the election. We were meddling with the investigation, which, if you're trying to argue against an obstruction of justice charge on behalf of your boss, and I guess you could call him his boss because he is
His
counsel.
boss. He's his personal
Would you suggest
lawyer.
that you were meddling with an investigation? As a former federal prosecutor, is not the process of the investigation supposed to be something that is really, really sacred to them?
You see these people who have been out of the game for a little bit and they get back in, and you look at them and you're like, oh, that person lost a step, or that basketball player's a half step slower than they were 2 seasons ago. Rudy Giuliani is like 50 leagues, behind where he was when he was actually practicing. You'd almost think the guy forgot about how to practice law.
I'm sure he did.
Well, and then here's the weird thing that he did over the weekend, though. As we're having this discussion about foreign interference in our election and foreign influence over the election, he's talking about going to Ukraine, which is one of the countries at the center of the entire Mueller investigation, to have them investigate Joe Biden's son in an attempt to dig up political dirt on a potential opponent in the 2020 election, which isn't that exactly what we're freaking out about right now?
I think everyone, it's been said
Canceled
lately.
it.
It's been, yes, I know he canceled his trip. And made even more news when he canceled it. But I speak for the many commentators, including maybe some at this table, including Bill Maher, including people at other places. I've lost all hope for us. He gets away with everything. This guy who's holds the highest office in the land, unfortunately. It's almost like I got to give up. They do this Ukraine thing. They aren't going to get crap for it. No one's going to call them on it. No one's going to do anything.
Well, if you're anybody in the Ukraine, are you even taking that bait at this point in time? Because it certainly seems as if they might be being watched at this point in time. And this is the kind of thing that gets you put on the Magnitsky list, which means all your assets are frozen. So if you are some sort of Ukrainian business person, stay as far away as possible if you like your money.
That's right. If you want to continue to be able to do business in stable economies, you might want to, shut your trap, not meet with anybody.
Well, and at the same time, what the hell is Giuliani thinking?
He does not think.
Well, Giuliani is definitely not the right guy to do it, right? When the guy's on TV, he feels like Grandpa Simpson, right? He looks very confused. I don't think he's sure exactly what he's saying.
He looks a little bit like a combination of Grandpa Simpson and Mr. Burns.
With the worst traits of both.
Sort of got that evil streak in there.
But and then the other question is, you're absolutely right. I mean, he's a personal lawyer to the president. So why are you sending him as your emissary to another country?
Well, and I'm just trying to figure.
He's not sending him as an emissary. He's sending him to dig up dirt for the campaign because he's his personal attorney.
which is very problematic for me, because is not that part of what got Richard Nixon in trouble, was digging up political dirt on your political enemies?
Reason.
It's beyond reason, and it might be beyond legal.
It's way beyond legal. And
now the other interesting thing that I saw this morning, and this was great, it was a meme of Richard Nixon doing this, and it says, "I am not a Trump."
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Pretty darn good.
We all yearn for those happy days when Tricky Dick Nixon was our president.
Well,
we all yearn for those. At least he was a patriot. At least he thought he was doing what was best for the country. Trump is just doing I don't like to say his name, but he's just doing whatever is best for his family.
Is that where we are now?
Yes, he's actually.
Well, all right. Hold on a second, though, because if you were reading Twitter this weekend at all, I mean, and I do follow the president on Twitter.
My wife follows him too.
And I probably shouldn't. And stop hitting the table. It makes noise when you do that. It's okay. I do it myself.
I'll do that.
So anybody watching, we're going to try to stop that right now because it does show up on the audio.
I'm so sorry.
Man, it's like you guys have never been on radio before. I kid. Sorry about that. My apologies, everyone. But yeah, we got to stop hitting the table. All right. Even though you want to hit the table because
it's okay.
It's frustrating. This weekend, he went off on his decision on Friday to extend tariffs to all Chinese products. 25% raised the tariffs on just about the remaining stuff. 25% insisting once again that tariffs are going to be great for America and that the Chinese owe us these tariffs. And his own economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, finally came out this weekend and said, well, no, he's that kind of wrong. It's actually consumers in the United States that are likely going to pay the tariffs that are,
because the companies are paying the tariffs, and then they usually have to pass them on.
Almost always.
Almost always. Yes,
profit
absolutely.
margins have to be the same as they always were, and your shareholders are not going to put up with it. And in this case, the shareholders are chunks of the Chinese government as well as other oligarchs over there.
Exactly.
So they're not going to stand for their profits being decreased. But President Trump came out and just basically said, this is going to be great. The talks have completely broken down at this point in time. The market's reacted on Friday.
It's reacting today.
Yeah,
it's going quick
right
because the Chinese finally retaliated.
And so we'll see what happens. But like I said, higher prices on goods, which means that maybe, just maybe, those MAGA hats will be made in America instead of China because maybe, the costs of doing it in China has gone up to the point where it makes more sense to do it in the United States. But probably the only place in the U.S. could actually make MAGA hats for the dollar price that he's used to paying for them, which is probably about $0.10 a piece, would be some sweatshop, which is likely staffed with immigrant labor.
Illegals.
That's right.
Illegals. Make America.
So what is going to happen, though, with this?
One thing is that China's not the only place you can get stuff manufactured.
Well, that's what they're doing. Right? They're going to
Vietnam. So this is going to be fantastic for Vietnam.
Taiwan gets some of its edge back. Yeah, Thailand and Vietnam have been taking over a lot of that labor anyway.
Philippines as well. So there's a lot of other places.
Bangladesh.
Yeah, Bangladesh, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of other places you can get stuff manufactured. So it's quite a shell game that he's trying to play here. One, you don't have to make stuff in China. You can move elsewhere. So you don't really solve the jobs problem over in the United States. And then beyond that, it's just going to get passed on to consumers. So, when you go to buy your disposable toilet, you're gonna pay that tariff every time you do that.
Absolutely. But I thought it was kind of funny because he has been pushing this point that this is China that's going to pay. And finally, and I believe it was Fox News that actually got Kudlow to open up about this.
Said that,
and he said, no, it is going to be the consumers on this one. And once people actually figure that out, all of a sudden, this, tough guy image is not going to play as well.
Well, the other thing that might happen is, every poll shows that why do all these people still believe in him? Well, we know the politicians believe in him because he's packing the courts. That they love, and that is generational, and that's they love that. He's cut the taxes, but also the main thing that everyone cites is, and he cites it too, is the economy's going great. The economy's going great. The economy, and everyone says, unfortunately or fortunately, the economy's going really great. But with the stock market plunging because of this trade war now, he, maybe we'll be lucky enough that the economy will tank.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Before 2020.
See, that's it.
Maybe we'll be lucky enough.
You can't root for the place to fail. But
I
at
know.
The same time,
I had
just to give people an idea of where we are as of let's see, just about 30 seconds ago, we are down 590 points this morning.
Because China retaliated, and so they said, okay, it's not just this goofball raising tariffs on everything Chinese. It's the Chinese going, this is a war, and it's not good for our economy, and everybody in the world knows it, except the one person who doesn't understand business and can manage to lose $275,000 a day for 10 straight years. That's how much it was a day that he lost.
Well, on paper.
No, I'm saying on paper or wherever, that's how much he lost.
I mean, if anything, I think that whole thing about his tax returns just shows that, he had a pretty good attorney accountant that figured out ways for him to basically live the lifestyle he was living, continue to live the lifestyle he was living, while claiming that he was making no money, and he didn't skip a beat. I mean, I'm telling you, this guy did not miss a single day on his golden toilet. So
no, it's all called. I mean, you know some rich people who they just. It's not that they're rich, but they have a lot of cash flow, and they live on their cash flow. And they take money out, and that's why he lost a lot of money.
Well, he
He's on his golden toilet.
figured out ways to write off other people's losses.
Exactly.
And it's the real estate game.
Other people's money. That's when you know you're really
OPM,
rich, right? Yeah. So there you go. All right.
I wish I had some. I had some other people's money.
I can tell you one miscalculation that I think Donald Trump made over the course of this weekend. I mean, there's obviously a few. If you're not a fan of tariffs, and I know the auto industry, by the way, is freaking out about this. He sent out a Mother's Day tweet yesterday. Anybody that sends out a Mother's Day tweet, if you forget to mention your wife and the mother of your child in said tweet, that never goes over very well. And how do you forget that? The lovely Melania, mother to Barron, it seems to me that you would sit there and say, Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, especially my lovely wife, Melania, who I couldn't do any of this without. It's not that hard to do.
Craig, I saw every commentator in the sports world over the weekend. If they just went to interview a player, he said Happy Mother's Day. Everyone said Happy Mother's Day. They all said Happy Mother's Day. The lady who does the news on NBC said Happy Mother's Day. The people on 60 Minutes, everyone says Happy Mother's Day, including my mom. Yeah,
it's one thing to include your mom
or my wife.
Again,
and my lovely mom and my lovely wife.
That's right. If you fathered a child, and there's a mom out there, you say Happy Mother's Day. Just period. You just do it.
You just do it.
I mean,
it's automatic.
The fact that somebody should.
There's no follow-up tweet, right? No follow-up tweet calling her out in particular.
Well, that would be,
right?
But then that would be admitting that you made a mistake.
Admitting. Yeah.
And so he'd rather suffer the wrath of Melania than have to deal with that.
He didn't want to lump her in with all the other tweets. Right?
She doesn't have wrath, and here's a good topic.
Well, she might. We have no idea.
My wife thinks, no, she's not leaving when he loses. I said she's going to leave right when he leaves office. She said no, she's in it. She likes this.
Yeah, maybe she prefers to be forgotten.
She
might be like that. I just kind of live my life. Me and Barron are over here.
I got my citizenship. My family got theirs.
Bills are getting
paid.
Migration. We're fine.
Chain migration.
It's the chain migration of Melania's family.
Well, all right. Should we get into Eric Bowling for just a second? Because
don't pound on the table. Whatever you do.
I know. It's my fault. I asked for it, and I'm going to get it back. That's exactly what this is about.
I've learned to control my hands.
So, speaking of Melania Trump, Eric Bowling, of course, formerly of Fox News, was introducing Melania at one of the things that she's involved in.
Did he introduce her as a host body?
No, he did not. No, he did not. Fortunately, Eric Bowling's smarter than that, but he did introduce her as the most accomplished first lady in history. To which I suggested, and I tweeted out myself, oh, hell no, Eleanor Roosevelt.
Hey,
among Dolly Madison could be one. Abigail Adams, Rosalind Carter, Barbara Bush, Laura Bush.
The trouble is that neither Barbara nor Laura ever did nude photos.
Well,
that's the accomplishments. That's what she's. They never did pornos like Melania did.
I'm guessing Eleanor Roosevelt probably didn't either. But it's just.
It's just a joke, though.
I understand, but at the same time, I mean, how do you say that with a straight face? You can sit there and say, "Our wonderful
Craig,
first lady. I love what she's working on." You can highlight the cool stuff that she's doing, and
you people have to give up on
some good stuff.
Why do people believe this, and how can they?
Why is it so important to inflate every single thing beyond reasonable proportion?
Because he's got the Kool-Aid. They drink the Kool-Aid. He's some kind of.
He's just trying to be best.
If they see, okay, I'm not even going to make my Jim Jones joke here, okay? Because the Kool-Aid had a very, very different ending with the Jim Jones thing, where that reference came from. So
but it's become.
We won't get into that.
It was Flavor Aid.
Yeah, that's. Oh, was it? Well,
Flavor Aid.
That's all I know. Flavor.
Are you sure it wasn't Lick-O-Maid?
Well,
remember Lick-O-Maid?
That was the worst candy ever.
Do you remember? It was this
a
like
stick?
powder. Well, no, there was also it came in as a powder, and you could.
Yeah, but there was a stick that came with it, and you lick the stick, and you dip it in the thing, and then you lick the Kool-Aid off the stick.
I think lick the stick is banned from this show too.
We're gonna have to mic up Michael Lucido if he's gonna.
Michael Lucido, our engineer.
All right, let's go to Michigan here for just a little bit. The Republicans in the state house not content to let the Senate finish things quickly, because the Senate in one day basically passed an auto insurance reform bill that the Democrats hated, that the governor threatened to veto. So the House the House Republicans decided they were going to bring it up on the same day. Of course, passed their bill at 2:00 in the morning. Some of us were paying attention because we knew it was happening, but the vast majority of people were sleeping. Gee, this isn't a consequential bill in any way, shape, or form. Now, it did tweak it a little bit. Democrats liked it a little bit more, but Whitmer's still going to veto this thing more than likely. But what was the need to do this at 2:00 in the morning?
Well, they had both chambers and a governor for 8 years and didn't feel the need to really pass anything.
Didn't do a damn thing.
Didn't do a thing. And,
Except for
and all of a
business.
sudden at 2
Pass a lot
a.m.,
of-
they're like, hey, we should probably get some work done.
I understand, but 2:00 in the morning, I mean, it's not a good look. It to me, and like I said, the House bill was better than the Senate bill by a little bit.
Okay, so what are the provisions? I mean, the 2:00 in the morning. I don't know that they're trying to hide anything. Of course, it's
Well,
gonna,
the Senate's
know, but-
version was, and here's the simple version of it.
Yeah.
Get rid of your unlimited lifetime coverage. We eliminate the Catastrophic Claims Association over
Right.
a few years, and you might get a cut in your rates.
and you might, yeah.
They didn't want to guarantee any sort of
course.
percentage. They think that the market will just automatically correct itself, and that these companies won't
No.
keep things about the same. That
House
faith in the
bill-
market is such a cute thing, but that's what they did. The House version
Faith in
actually
the market.
does put some guaranteed decreases, but it's sunsetted after a few years, at which they can revisit all this kind of stuff. But also not the type of rate increases that they would see. They eliminate some aspects of non-driving factors from the
like
equation,
credit score,
but not enough.
But
And-
what do they do with the credit score? My insurance salespeople friends say that's the main thing. I mean, obviously, where you live is part of it, but
Well, the
if
zip
you live in
codes-
Detroit and have a mediocre credit score, you're screwed.
Well, it's the combination. The algorithm there is basically to figure out who's most likely to file a medical claim after an accident.
Right.
They have figured out, depending on your zip code and what your credit score is, that you might be much more likely to try and get some money out of one of those 800 car hit you types.
Oh, I understand.
So,
Yeah.
that's what they're looking at. They don't like that being taken away. So I do like the fact that if that goes away, that the insurance companies are going to hate that. The attorneys are going to hate the fact that the lifetime benefits cap is going to get taken away, and the health system doesn't like a rate schedule that is likely going to be attached to this. So my thinking is, if all three of those groups are ticked off at this bill, then they're on to something.
I think that's fair to say. To tick off all three of them
Yes.
is really something else. I mean, that's some amazing triangulation there.
I would love to see it, but I mean, at the same time, now I see the same fault lines that we've seen in this debate, and I'm not sure that we're going to get there. We shall see.
I think what'll be interesting to see is what Duggan says about this and how he corrals people. I mean, a number of people were swept into office by his a super PAC affiliated with him regarding this issue.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we don't have a ton of time left. I know you've got a meeting you've got to get to. You actually have a job, which is kind of important.
On occasion, we do things for people.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to get to some of the goofy stories of the week that we came up.
I mean, he works for someone. Oh, he has a job.
He has his own company. I know, but he's got clients.
I
He's
work,
got
I work for the
meetings.
clients, man. I
Yeah.
work for the clients.
There you go. There you go. All your IT needs.
There you go.
All right, let's see here. Should we start in Mongolia? Let's
What?
start in
What?
Mongolia.
Let's start as far
Okay,
away
when's
as
the
we
last
can.
time you heard about somebody dying from the plague?
You mean that wasn't in a movie?
Yes. Bring out your dad, the whole 9 yards. A couple in Mongolia had been reading about the health benefits of eating raw marmot. And if anybody knows what a marmot is, it's like a woodchuck that lives in the mountains. They look a lot like that. They're kind of cute, actually. But they ate raw marmot, and then they came down from the mountains and all of a sudden started getting sick. They got the plague from eating raw marmot and may have exposed some other people. So Mongolia is dealing with their first plague outbreak in quite a while. It's not a huge outbreak, but surprise, surprise, eat raw marmot meat, you get the plague.
Well,
I hate the plague.
Yeah.
I'm generally not partial to marmot meat.
I've never had marmot meat.
I like it seared.
Would you call it marmite?
Marmite.
There you go.
Marmite. I like it seared. Now, marmite is the plant-based.
That's right.
Plant-based
Heavenly marmot.
The first question is,
They all
what
make you
website
sick.
did they read that on? Healthbenefits.healthy?
I don't know, but yes, raw marmot meat. And they ate the organs too, and of course, then they got sick and they died rather quickly. Apparently, this is not something we want to spread.
No,
so
the
if
plague.
you're tempted,
If you're tempted,
stay away from the marmot meat.
or going to Mongolia.
Yeah,
What's the
well-
next story?
Next story. Well, aren't you pushing?
No, I'm just saying I want to have as much fun as possible. And I think we've,
Okay, put this in the.
I think we've beaten this marmot to death.
And now we're getting ready to
Woof.
eat it. All right, let's see. This is in the category of things that did not need to be made. An Irish company that makes ice cream is debuting a new flavor, chicken nugget flavored ice cream.
I hear it's big in Japan.
Here's the question: is it that pink stuff? Does it look like the pink stuff that they make the nuggets out of?
Looks
you'd
like
almost
pink
have
soft
to.
serve.
Exactly, which is really gross. But I'm thinking to myself, chicken nugget. I mean, chicken and waffles. I get there's at least a little sweetness there, but do they taste like? Does it taste like McDonald's nuggets or Burger King nuggets, or is it more of like a chicken wing kind of
marmot
thing?
nuggets.
Marmot nuggets. There we go. But would you eat chicken nugget ice cream?
No.
Does it have chunks of chicken nugget in it? Frozen chicken nugget.
Some brands.
I'm waiting
of-
for fish stick flavor. That's gonna be.
I always wanted to do a sauerkraut flavored ice cream. I thought that would be very successful.
I've heard somebody makes pickle flavored ice cream, so that market already may be cornered.
Oh, jeez.
So you may be
There goes
out
my
of luck there.
cucumber.
How about
Well, they
this
actually
one?
make cucumber.
How about this
desserts.
one? And so, Michael, what's the minute mark we're at right now?
We are at 27.
27. I got 3 minutes
27.
left. Okay.
Okay.
So, all right. This was a great story that I saw on Fox 2 News here locally, but it was not necessarily a local story. This was in Vinton County, Ohio. Sheriff's deputies in Ohio arrested a woman that had broken into somebody's home, but she did not go there to steal anything. She went into the house, sat on the couch for a while, played with the family's dog, washed the dishes, and then left.
I've been trying to get her to come to my house.
Did she walk the dog? I mean, because then that's basically like a house sitting service for free. Now, the interesting thing is she did get arrested. And if you look at her picture, you're not shocked to see this, but they said that drugs may have been involved.
Ambien could have been involved.
That's what I'm thinking. But they said she appeared to be under the influence of narcotics, according to sheriff's officials. And if you look
Aren't
at her,
we all?
If you look at her picture on the website, she very much looks like one of those faces of meth pictures that are out there.
Well, I think it was awful kind of her to do the dishes.
I thought that was nice.
Like, I used your couch for a little bit. I pet your dog for a little bit. I'll do the dishes. That's the barter.
Does she vacuum is what I want to know. Or maybe it was Flo from the Progressive.
That's right. Here's the wacky new maid.
Yeah, exactly. What else you got? What?
Let's move to Arizona, shall we?
Okay.
There was a mom in Arizona, and she is basically under arrest for assault. She's 27 years old. She was beating up her 7-year-old kid because apparently, according to her, she punched him because he was being a bad lookout while her mom tried to rip stuff
Grandma.
off from the store.
Grandma?
Yeah,
Oh,
grandma was stealing stuff from the store. The kid was supposed to be the lookout, and he wasn't doing a good enough job, so mom punched him,
Boom.
and of course gets caught on camera.
In her defense, I don't know how I'd feel if my kid didn't want to go into the family business.
Yeah, right. Well, no, and if you're going to go into the family business, do a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
so-
not going to trade on your name in this
Have
business.
some, yeah.
So she had a preliminary exam the other day. I have not found out the results of this preliminary exam, but aggravated assault against a child, which is a problem. That's not necessarily going to be a good thing. But yeah. So
That's okay. He can be raised
But he
by
testified,
grandma.
I didn't watch out for grandma good enough. That's what he said.
If she goes to jail for aggravated assault, that's okay. He can live with grandma. She'll be a better influence on him.
Yeah, well, yeah. Jeez. Exactly. What do you do in that situation if you're friend of the court, trying to figure this stuff out, the custody battle?
You
You're
give
like,
him to grandma. Grandpa? What's Giuliani? What's he across of on the Simpsons?
Grandpa Simpson.
Mr. Burns and Grandpa Simpson. There you go.
Giuliani.
And we're going to stay in Arizona, and we're going to wrap up in Arizona because I thought this one was pretty good. It's not really good. It's a horrible story if you think about it. But this is another picture that belongs in Faces of Meth. So this woman got in a fight with her boyfriend. He jumps out of the car, gets out of the car, and she ran him over. But she claims now that, I'm sorry, the moment I hit the gas pedal, I blacked out before I ran him over. That is the defense that she is using, and doesn't have any remembrance of it, despite the fact that they caught her. And there's a bunch of dents and stuff in the front of the car.
Is he
from hitting this
okay?
guy.
Is he okay?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, but I don't think so. He suffered injuries to the right side of his body. He is in the hospital, but she said she left him on the sidewalk because she didn't think he was injured that bad. But she was blacked out, so how would she remember that? Why'd you leave him on the side? Well, he wasn't hurt that bad, but I don't remember. I mean, come on.
Just a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound. So
Don't you have anything uplifting for us at the end of the show?
the Follies is never uplifting.
No, it's supposed to be uplifting.
It's,
I don't
it's
know.
man's inhumanity to man.
Well,
on
here's
display.
your
We're making
uplifting.
jokes about it.
We had 2 Arizona woman stories.
That's
to
right.
1 Florida man story.
Oh, that's
so,
Exactly.
There we go.
So, gentlemen, watch your step in Arizona.
Okay.
It's not the place you necessarily want to go looking for a girlfriend at this point in time, because it seems like it's kind of dangerous. Well, uplifting. I mean, come on, chicken flavored nuggets.
Oh,
or chicken
hey,
chicken flavored ice cream.
I
Excuse me.
forgot.
I think
I
that's not
forgot
bad.
about chicken nugget flavored ice cream. That was uplifting.
Well, there was a lot of funny stuff this week, though.
We had a lot of fun.
I'd be happy with just chicken flavored chicken nuggets right now.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Next week
You know
maybe we'll
what
have
it
nuggets
tastes like?
waiting for us.
There we go.
Chicken. Tastes like chicken.
Does it though? Do we even know what chicken really tastes like anymore with all that processed stuff that's out
Absolutely.
there?
Absolutely. We buy the rotisserie chickens at Kroger.
There you go. That's true. All right. Well, we're going to leave it right there because it's getting stupid now. Alok Sharma, we appreciate your time, sir.
Always
Thank you
good,
very
Craig.
much. Chato Hill, thank you very much. I'm Craig Fahle. Thanks to Michael Lucido once again for engineering the broadcast. Appreciate you checking it out. And don't forget, we're here every day at DeadlineDetroit.com. Download the podcast anywhere you get podcasts, and we appreciate you checking it out. Have a great Monday. See you next time.